Welcome to the Kobe Show. Take 2.
Hey guys, this is your man, not Mamba, Abhijit here with a new venture of my content creation field called podcasting. As you all know me, I have done podcasts in audio week, but this is a new field for me, getting out of my comfort zone and meeting new people, getting their life stories and learning from them. So welcome to the Kobe Show, and this is the first episode of our show. So today I'm delighted to have a personality from our college, Mrs. Panthea, a communication lecturer of our college. The reason behind choosing her is because of her jovial nature. You know, she's the one who transformed me and she's the one who pushed me to this thing that come on, let's do it. So that's the reason, ma'am, it's a privilege to have you on my show. And as I said, coming out from my audio podcast to video podcast, it's a completely a different feel and a different aspect. So it's it's pretty challenging as well because I never been this close to people except to my parents. And usually I don't talk to my parents. Like I'm a little introverted guy in my house as well, but I feel so happy to have you in my show. First of all, welcome to my show. So this is the show called Kobe Show. So the reason behind having this show is like I started this show 1 year back. I would say back in June 2023. So that's where I started off doing a podcast in an audio way. Doing an audio podcast and publishing it in Spotify and all. So the beginning of podcast field comes to a backstory during my college days. So when I joined mass communication, I hadn't had any idea about what to do actually. I was pretty confused. So from there on, from second year onwards, I was pretty confused what to do next in my life. And that's how a ma'am from my college started introducing podcasts. And that grabbed my attention. So the best alternate way I found was doing a podcast. Whether it's good or not, like I just started up doing it. I used to generate my own content. I was more fascinated about crime stories, you know, reading about criminals. Like, it's pretty weird, but that's actually fascinated me. Reading about, past serial killers, their behavior and all. That actually helped me, it created a curiosity to do even my final year research as well. That's the story of my podcast, and so now I'm here doing my video podcast with you. So glad to have you, man.
Yes,
Welcome
it's
back
actually a
again.
privilege, it's actually an honor.
Yeah.
And though I've known you for 2 months, it's the first time I'm hearing a little bit of your background.
Yeah.
And I'm very much inspired and I'm very much blessed that I have come into your life. All the way from Sri Lanka, there are things that sometimes we come across the seas to do something for someone. And there should be a purpose in life.
Yeah.
So what I believe is, you say, okay, if I do this, will it be a failure? Will I be a flop? Seashells, sort of ruin my life. But what I say is, in everything, there is a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
We do not know if it's destiny or karma or fate. But we know one thing, that I've always believed, if you have the will to do something, everything, even God, nature, everyone will be supportive one day. You will reach where you reach. But we all go through obstacles, and you've gone through a lot at a very young age.
So, ma'am, let's just not discuss about myself. Let's even make it more conversational so that I can have my purpose of doing this podcast. As I said, I want to share the life of people as well. So I need you to share a couple of things. Like I'm gonna ask you. I have divided into different categories, so you can organize. Like I can organize it and ask you questions related to that. So, ma'am, could you just tell me a brief about yourself?
Okay, about myself. I would start with the most important thing in life is, I always believe, live the life you love and love the life you live. So I am a communication and leadership trainer by profession, a psychological counselor, special needs teacher as well, an educator. And my passions are music, reading, movies, cooking, and observing people traveling. So I am a person who would love to mix and move around with people. I just want to always create a difference in the people I meet.
Okay.
Because I believe as an educator, and how I came to this state is another mystery. It was not my passion.
Yeah.
So with that, I always think, being a mother of two children, and they're both growing up, I would say. Every day they are still growing. They're still babies to me.
It's a journey you could cherish.
Yes. So all this together have made me realize wherever you go, you can teach, you can guide. At the same time, you can learn as well from others. They may be your students, they may be colleagues, but we all have a space to learn. And it's never too late, and it's never embarrassing to say, I don't know this, I'll find out and let you.
Yeah, like somewhere the other way, I feel like you're like my grandmother.
Okay.
Like she's the person like, okay, if I don't know this, let me try this. And our woman says that, right?
Yes.
We just need a curiosity to start anything.
Yes. That's
So my first question to you is that what made you to choose up this field, which is completely unique?
Okay. Completely unique, but
Yeah.
this is not the field that I ever dreamt I
Because
would
in
be.
India, like there is, I don't know if a specified subject called communication workshop exists. Maybe it might be a workshop, but not a subject. But here in Lead, it's completely unique, and
Yes.
for the first time in my life, I'm going through this subject.
Because people go through business communication, leadership skills, corporate trainings. You would have heard that.
Yeah.
You get corporate training, you get skill development, soft skills, along with hard skills. Because as headhunters nowadays, they look for a lot of soft skills. Your hard skills sometimes is a lesser percentage, depending on the organization. So, but for me to come into this field is not my choice.
Okay.
If you still ask me what would I like to do with my life, taking 22 years back, I would say I would still like to pursue medicine. So I was actually to come to India, which is a coincidence because 22 years later I came. I was determined to come to India when I was 18 years old. I really wanted to start doing my medicine here, my medical career. I wanted to settle down in India. So being the only child, and I did not have my dad, he passed away when I was 12, when I was in Australia. So back again in Sri Lanka from 13 to this 18 years, it was a big transition. No siblings. My mom was a very tough lady who would just say study, study, study. So my dream and passion was to become a cardiologist because my dad died of a cardiac arrest. And because of that, I wanted to go into research to find a drug that will help people with hypertension, high cholesterol levels in having, because I see there are a lot of anticoagulants, but I wanted to find a specific drug to help with preventing cardiac arrest, which is heart attack in layman's terms. And then with that, I also thought if I become a doctor, I would like to do something adventurous and join the army, drive a jeep. I had this kind of passion in me. I was always thinking of that. But unfortunately, it did not materialize because my mom was too frantic to send me to India. For the sole reason I said I wanted to marry an Indian. Okay, so she was like, I don't think it's a wise idea right now. So she never sent me. So I actually got sick for 2 weeks. I was in hospital with hypertension, which I'm still on treatment for. And there is no underlying cause for.
Hypertension is actually a big trouble.
Yes.
Once it affects our life, you need to control it throughout our life.
Yes.
I have my parents, two of my parents like that.
Okay.
My mother, lately, I still can't believe she's the calmest person of my house, and I still can't believe why she has, she's suffering from hypertension.
I've been having since 18 years. I've had 2 children. I've been going on with my career for 22 years, from age 22 to now, which is 45. And I've controlled my diets, I've done exercise. I was very frantic first. Why did I get it at this age? You can't find a cause. Then I realized one physician who told me, think of it as a vitamin. Your hypertensive drugs as a vitamin. So I took it up in that way. There was nothing I could do. And I began to always monitor my pressure, keep my life in check. And that's how I'm still surviving, with God's grace.
Great to hear. And the next question would be, who is the main reason for whom you are today?
I would always say it's my father. I had my dad only for 12 years of my life. And my dad is my first hero. My dad is my first love, I would say. Because for one sole reason, he is the only man on this earth who has never ever hurt me. Right? So for me, that little 12 years we had is really precious because his talents and skill in writing, in speaking, in being a person who would think of the other person first, has instilled certain things in me which I find strange why I would tolerate so much in life. So, more than the career and more than anything professionally, I think what made me who I am today is the role model I saw in my dad. Because he was a person you scold him, he would keep quiet. And now I've learned it the hard way. Because, okay, people can say anything, but it's end of the day how you're going to react that really matters. So that's something I learned through my father, and I always looked up to him because he was a person who wouldn't want to hurt other people. So that is some virtue in him I always wanted to have in order to be like him. So that's something that brought me. Yes, very much. Because I'm not close to my mom, to be honest. My mom was a bit of a, I would say she was very strict, super strict. So she was a parent who always wanted what she wanted.
Yeah.
So she would always say, no, do this, this, this. And then when I find that it's not really in par with what I wanted, so I used to rebel. But I can't rebel much because it's a physical beatings, it's a threat. So it's not like this generation.
Yeah.
We are very scared. It's more than respect, we fear. So, she'll come with a cane, even at 18 years, she would hit, that's the fear we have.
And that actually creates a trauma when
Yes.
we reach certain age.
Yes, that age. So, because of that, I never used to advocate it to my two children.
Yeah.
And I always thought that bonding, which was not there.
Thank you for taking up this topic. My next question would be obviously this. Being a mother of two, how would you say, like, how is the life of yours? Like, how is it transforming you? Is it transforming you? And do you get any learnings from it? Or, is it interesting? Is it a part of your journey?
Yeah, it's like a mega serial, I would say. It's like something you can put for a whole series and people can watch. Life is like that, as William Shakespeare said, life is a stage and we are actors, right? So what I learned, especially being a mother, is first thing, to your children, be a friend. To your children, do not nag them. If you want something done, yes, you can tell it. You can move heaven and earth and do it. But you have to understand, end of the day, they are individuals. Even from the time they were infants to babies and now, what I feel is that bonding as a parent. It's not been easy because after 14 years of marriage, I went through a divorce. So I had the two children to myself. So my son was 14 at that time and my daughter was 9. So living alone with two children and they're missing their dad and dad is, he's having his own life. Though they had contact, I even still talk with him, right? I don't have any hatred, but that made life very challenging for me because I used to work around the clock.
How did you manage it at the initial stage? Because in the initial stage is everything, right?
Yes.
You start coping up with the initial stage, that's where you start growing.
Yes.
Like, base is the thing where we have to grow up.
Yes.
Like, base is always the level 0. Yes. I would always call the base as level 0. Once you conquer the level 0, then you're good to go.
Okay. Yes. So how I tackle this along with my counseling psychology skills. Okay. What I had learned, I had to practice hard. Because I myself is very prone to depression with this kind of situation. It's not easy. The children throw tantrums, they have their mood swings. It's not a normal family life, I would say. So what I did was first, no matter how much I said, go to school, do your homework, do this, I always thought, what is the root cause? How can I help them? So there are times I have remained neutral. Whereas a friend would say, no, you've got to beat the daylights out of your kid, then just tell the fellow to go to school. But I would say, no, that's not the way to handle it. So I gave space. They took some time, right? But I knew at the end of the day that everyone has a purpose on this earth. They were born through me, but they are not mine. God brought them, that is according to my faith. And I always believe for everyone there is a purpose. So I let that come, but it was not easy. There are nights I have cried, been sleepless, and the times my son has been troubled, my daughter. So I always tell any parent, you have your dreams. But when your children are rebelling, when you're going through tough times, when their grades are low, when their attitude is very, very crappy, you've got to bear it a little bit. Yes, you can't always say, I've got to have control. Just let go and relax and things will fall into place. It's not the A grade only that matters in life. Yeah. So just keep
That's
calm.
what, if I'm not wrong, that's how Indian parents are.
And Sri Lankan parents are no better.
Okay.
They would take belts and hit
Oh.
teenagers. Yes.
So it's the same situation back in Sri Lanka.
Back in Sri Lanka, I think India is better. I've not
Now
seen
I
so
feel
much
like
of trauma.
parents start doing it.
Yes.
Okay, if their son is good at anything,
Yes.
they'll directly send them to that. Okay, go on with that.
Yes.
Like, I wouldn't complain to my parents, but they gave me opportunities, but I didn't use it as well.
Okay.
Like, I came to know it when I reached the age of 20, that, they gave me this opportunity back then, but I didn't utilize. Okay, it's my fault. Even the maturity plays a role as well. Maturity plays a huge role when knowing about things and learning about things as well. Do you think that maturity plays a role?
Yes, maturity plays a role, because that is something I was getting to. With a 9-year-old daughter, I would say, taking her out of the home all to myself and taking her away from the dad. In the sense, dad was not there, but her life and image at that age was like, dad is my hero. And she used to fight and she used to say, I love my dad, I need my dad, why did he do, So it hurts me because I'm doing everything. And then you see this part of it. But as a parent, how I took that up is, you have to give time. You have to keep calm. One thing is, you can never verbally abuse children. You can't compare your two children, neither should you compare to others, the neighbors or relatives or whoever. And as a teacher, I never compare two students in my class. Right?
I see that.
Yes,
That's
so I do not like
in a teacher.
Yes, because my
you
children.
Should know, what I learned from a teacher is that you should know what is the student going through.
Yes.
Whether it's mentally or whether it is sad or depressed or anything, you should know the ability to understand the student's emotion.
Yes.
And I have found that in you as well, and even in Lakshmi ma'am as well.
Yes.
She's like, every time when I be down, like she's like, are you okay? Are you okay? Yeah, I say like, I'm fine.
Yes.
Like she understands me a lot.
Yes.
And there was this teacher I told you, right?
Yes.
Her name is Tejaswini ma'am. And she's a person who told me that you have something special in you, but you're not exploring out yourself. Okay. And that's how I said, okay, like I heard it a lot, and now it's my time to explore who I am right now.
Yes. That's the turning point, what I would say.
Yeah.
That is where I waited for my children to come. My daughter was rebellious, she didn't go to school sometimes. I used to go pick her. She used to say sick and come back. She didn't eat her meals. But son used to do the same. But now I knew they will come to a stage of maturity where you have to self-realize.
Ma'am, honestly I would say, I proudly say that I became mature at the age of 20. Like, there is no room for argument that it took me 20 years to be mature enough.
There are some still 20, 25, 30, they've not really found what maturity.
And a big credit goes to my parents because they grew me in such a way. Like they grew me in such a way that, okay, to this period of time in his life, he has to be in a phase where he learns everything from his ancestors, like grandparents. So I had that blessing of staying with my grandparents for around 12 years. From the age of 5 to age of 17, I was with my grandparents, and that's where I started growing. That's where I started nurturing myself. And honestly, the improvement that's having in me right now, today at present, is all because of my grandmother. And from age of 17 to this age, right now till age of 21, I have transformed myself a lot. My parents gave me immense freedom when I reached the age of 20. I still remember the day when I reached the age of 20. My father said that, now you are good to go. You are a mature man, and I believe in you that you can conquer this world. Just trust in yourself. Trusting in yourself is the important part. I believe in you, and now we are letting you fly. Do whatever you want. Do it fruitfully. Do it with your interest and love. You'll reach wherever you want. Yes. And I'm so grateful for that. And if I would ask you one question, what's sweetest and what hardest thing about being a parent, single parent? Okay, tell me the hardest
thing first.
Yeah.
I always like to put the bitter thing out first. So you put the bad news out first, and then there's good news. So the hardest thing was for me always feeling lonely.
Okay.
Which I still feel, to be honest. Right?
I'm one of them.
Yes.
I still feel lonely even if I have people around me.
Yes. Because now I see...
it can't be controlled. Like sometimes when you feel lonely, right? To be lonely even if you have people around.
Yes.
That's a state actually. You
Yes.
can't get out of it.
You can't.
It takes time.
Yes. And it's because like when other families, like we go for functions.
Yeah.
So to be honest, my ex-husband is remarried, he has 2 more kids. So we always go for the same functions.
Sorry, I actually didn't want to take
No,
up
I
this
really
topic,
like to
but
talk
ma'am
about
was
it.
the one who took
Yeah.
up this
No, I
topic.
really like
I had a
to
discussion.
Okay.
I had a discussion with Hananya.
Okay.
Hananya, I have this question
Okay.
about about parenting.
Okay.
So, would you think the ideal way to approach this question?
Okay.
So he asked me, what is the question about?
Okay.
So I said him that what is the toughest and the hardest thing about being a single parent?
Okay.
And he said that if ma'am mentioned herself, she is a divorced
Yes.
mother.
Okay.
So if that's the case, then you can ask that question.
Okay.
But make sure that
Okay.
you don't ask that question.
No, for me it's like this. I've always believed in one thing in life. If you are not on the same frequency, if you feel your partner is cheating, not respecting, whatever it may be in your loyalty to us, for me it's cheating. Okay? It's not domestic
It
violence.
does not include in married relationship. It
Yes.
also includes in your love relationship.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So my policy
I agree
is,
to that because
yes.
loyalty is the one thing
Loyalty
that
is what you need.
loyalty is the only main thing that keeps on the relation lasting.
Yes, for so many years
Yeah.
you will go on, you will go through thick and thin.
There are only two things that keeps a relationship, at its pure, it's loyalty and communication.
Yes.
The openness to communicate.
Openness, yes. So
When the person is giving you that same freedom, the same opportunity, or he's ready to listen. Listening is also a power to, a power in human. If you are ready to listen, and the person will be very comfortable. Like
yes,
you,
exactly.
like how you have children here all the time running behind you to talk to you.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because I have told it was a love marriage from 2 different races in Sri Lanka. I was just 20, he was 26, so finally a medical student.
Okay.
So he's from the north, he's a Tamil, I'm a Sinhalese, though I portray the Tamil outlook because I love Tamils and I love the Indian culture to be honest, from small days. So when this happened, it was like war. It was time of the war in Sri Lanka, right? The cold-blooded war.
Yeah.
And a lot of my relatives, 75% did not come for my wedding because I was marrying a Tamil which depicts a tiger.
Yeah, I know.
Okay? LTTE. Though he's not LTT, whatever, we can't justify ourselves.
Issue.
Yes. And it still does exist to a certain
extent.
It's existing. So what I thought is like we came from 2 backgrounds, we came through struggles, but I had told on day 1, if you ever cheat and break the trust, it's over. Whether I sweep the street and earn and feed my kids.
That's the courage a girl can have,
Yes, I would never. So there are a lot of my friends who may think, okay, we have to be together to safeguard the name of the family, for the sake of the children, for sake of society.
It's up to your decision.
Yes, but I would say for me personally, the hardest thing is as a single parent was always like when you go for events, you go for celebrations, you go for festivals, you always feel okay all alone. My kids used to feel we don't have anything
have they
together.
Ever felt, an emptiness of not having a family?
Yes, they've definitely felt it. And especially my son,
like
though he's very close to
emotionally?
me. Emotionally, yes, they felt a lot. Especially my daughter. So she had a lot of love towards the father, which sort of drifted to me. And now, like she openly says it, Mama is the love of my life, which I never expect from her. I've always told her, no, let Dada be your first love.
Of course, girls do like their father.
Yes, psychologically,
Yeah,
it's a bond that you
true.
can't. Yes.
That's true. Even I have a cousin sister
Okay.
who is truly devoted to her father.
Okay.
But she listens to the rules of her mother.
Mother, yes.
But I'm so proud of her. I would say she's the only young child of our family who is a scholar, who aspires to become a doctor.
Okay.
She works a lot for it, and I can see that struggle in her.
Okay.
And I hope so one day she might reach there.
Yes.
Like she's barely 17 years old, and the pressure she takes to herself is like immense.
Yes.
I sometimes feel like if I would have taken up this pressure during my 17s or 18s, I would have become something great, or I would have become a basketball player.
Yes.
But she has that dedication.
Yes, that's true. And then with regard to my sons, I always
Do you think like girls are dominant when choosing their career?
Yes, girls are very dominant, and girls are
And they
focused.
have that determination.
They have
like
the
as far as
determination.
I know, like I've been in love, and it's a breakup story as well. But
Yes.
I got to understand about a girl.
Yes.
Like if she is dedicated to a particular dream or something,
They're not.
she
They are
tries
very,
her
very
best to,
persevering.
Sorry for taking up my love as an example,
No,
but
no
that's
problem.
where
That's where reality lies.
that's the phase I came to know about her.
Okay.
So she has taught me a lot of things. What is life and what is her dream.
Okay.
She's been struggling to her dream. Like she is completely dedicated to her dream, 24/7.
Okay.
Even if 1% of her hard work doesn't pay off her day, she'll be completely off.
Right. Yes, that is something I see in girls. Even my daughter now, she's 19 and she started law.
Like that ratio is high when coming to me.
Okay.
Girls are very dominant in choosing up their dream, but due to societal issues and parental issues, they don't fulfill that.
Yes. That is what I feel is a little bit of a drawback.
Yeah,
we have the cultural norms, we have
girls set their dream
setbacks.
very at a high level.
Yes.
They set up at a very high level and they keep on working on that.
Yes.
But the problem is that I don't think so. It's not from Indian society as well. Even in world,
Yes.
in some part of Western countries, the girls sets up their dreams usually high. They'll keep on working for that. Like 75% of their life, they'll be dedicating until they marry. Until they marry, they'll keep on working to reach their dream.
Yes.
But during certain times, let's take an example of marriage or societal issues or parental issues, they have to drop it their dream.
Yes.
They have to drop out their dream.
Yes. So I think that is entirely based on the perspective of our parents sometimes. I don't blame parents, but I would always advise them to have an open mind because you have to give that free space for them to decide their careers to go forward. And even in marriage, they can marry, but they should find a partner who is able to say, I will support you to study. Because I have some students here we know who are married, who are having children, they're studying, they're doing the MBA, which is great. That is something very inspiring. For me, it was the same. I started off with my child at 22. I started a career with no qualifications, only standard 12. And then I built up to my master's. So it is whom you find in your life, how you adjust, and how you are determined as well. And your partner has to support in a great way. Otherwise,
if I would ask you, what are the practical ways a student can implement in their life to get out of their insecurities? As you have studied clinical psychology and counseling psychology and all, what are the practical ways that a student can implement? Practical ways, not a quick tip to escape from their insecurities, like a person for me. What can we?
Okay. So when you take insecurities and fears, it's the time you're born to the time you die, you'll be having it. You'll be having different fears, insecurity, different phases of your life. But one thing I know is a tip is, like you said, believe in yourself. I always say,
what I lack.
Yes,
I'm
you've got to do it. You can't think of what every other person is.
My brother used to tell me that you have that ego to do it, but you don't do it because you don't trust yourself. That's the reason I hate you. Sorry, he might be listening to this after this because he is my mentor actually. He has shaped me a lot. From a kid to a man. He even plays a role. I would say that the role of shaping me, like quarter of the percentage of shaping myself, doesn't the credit doesn't go to my parents. It goes to my grandparents, to my mother's sister, and to my brother. A part of it goes to my parents. So if I would tally it into 100%, 75% would be my grandmother, 10% would be my brother, and 5% from my parents, and 5% from my mother's sister.
Right, so you've got it all sorted out.
Yeah.
Yes, so you've got to believe in yourself as long as you. That's what I feel. The first one is that no matter what anybody says, one policy in life: if you don't harm anybody, and if you don't bring shame to yourself, always do what you believe and go beyond what you fear. Because people look at different things in different ways. We have heard fables, stories, we watch movies, we get inspired and we're like, wow, we are going to do it. But the moment you put your head down to do it, there could be yourself doubting. Is this going to work out? Is this going to be a loss? There is, they say, there is no pain, there is no gain.
Yeah.
And you've got to do it because I've gone through it and have done it. It's not impossible. People will say like, oh, she's crazy. Why does she want to do more? It's not that. There is a feeling of happiness, contentment and peace when you believe in yourself. when you have F.L.Y, you know what's F.L.Y? F.L.Y.
Yeah,
I discovered it later in life. First, love yourself. That is something I have not done all this time. Yeah, I learned it only last year at age 44 when I went through the lowest times in my life, when trust was broken, relationships break, and I only had my two children. I was happy that my son had graduated. My daughter is going on to a career. She's also having an online store since 15 years of age. So apart from that, I thought life was just not what I wanted. So I thought of moving out of Sri Lanka as well to find my life, because I've had enough of all these. Sometimes we feel we've had enough. We've hit rock bottom. But one thing I learned is first love yourself. So first is believe in yourself. Next is F.L.Y. F.L.Y is first love yourself. If you can't love yourself, if you can't take care of your health, your well-being, your passion, your hobbies, listen to music, watch a movie, take a break once in a way. If you can't do that, you're not going to balance your life. You have a personal life, professional life. You're not going to balance if you don't give priority to yourself. So those are two things I believe. No mantra can change that, right? Nothing will change that.
Okay, a question. Like I'm asking you this question. This is not the question I have.
Okay.
Okay. As I told you, like before starting up this podcast, I have a super perception that okay, what do people think if I start doing this or that?
Yes.
So what is your take about that?
What I would say is you start. You have started. Actually, this is the first stepping stone, right? And when you're building up this foundation with these stones, people may throw stones and rocks at you. So you just pick it up and you build yourself with that. Whatever humiliation, whatever they may say, oh, it's not so interesting, so what?
Yeah, that's the main thing. Like,
okay.
What if people doesn't feel interesting?
No, you've got to do what you're doing. You will build up with time. It takes time. They say good things take time, and waiting is, So late doesn't mean that you have not achieved. So it's not going to come overnight. Maybe overnight, yes, it may happen. But sometimes when you just go up that graph, you may fall also down because you are thinking, oh wow, I'm doing a great job. But when you're going gradually up that gradient and you're stable, it's like in an organization. Stability is important. It's not only your profit and loss, but you've got to be stable in a dynamic, changing world. So same thing with you. Whether you feel, okay, you are having viewers, people are giving comments, positive, negative, it doesn't matter. You just keep a straight mind. And this reminds me right now what MS Dhoni says about cricket. It's not, okay, are we going to lose the match? The equation is very narrow. I know you're a basketball lover, but I'm a cricket lover. And I love Indian cricket.
Yeah, like a funny fact about ma'am. Ma'am is a Sri Lankan born lady, but she loves Indian team.
Yes.
Indian cricket team.
Yes, I wear their jersey. I would die for them. I love them so much, right?
Who is the favorite cricket player?
Oh,
Indian.
I have my first crush at 10 years. He was 16, Sachin Tendulkar.
Oh wow.
So he was playing that time, and I used to think I just want to marry someone just like Sachin.
But that opportunity is gone off.
Yes, and that is the way I started to feel for India. I started loving India, the food, the culture, the clothing, the jewels, everything. It was because of cricket, to be honest.
Okay, what's one fascinating tradition or culture that you feel that's so good that makes India so at its best?
India at its
A culture.
Okay.
A culture that you feel is that, okay, this is something which makes India so beautiful.
Okay. What I feel is despite all the modernization, the commercial outlook, the westernized outlook that India does have in certain places. Right? I don't see it much in Kerala or in Palakkad. But to be honest, when I go to Bangalore and other places I still feel one thing. No matter what, no matter who you are, no matter where you are in society, when it comes to, say, a religious festival, it comes to a puja, the Hindu tradition, right, really inspires me a lot. I'm a Christian. But I always have this, everyone thinks I'm a Hindu because I have these threads, right? So I always feel no matter how drunk the person may get, no matter what he eats, no matter what he does in his life, there is a time, okay, I've got to observe this. They have that reverence for their religion or faith or tradition. That is something I don't see in other places. I've been to places, I see it in my country.
You were born in Australia, right?
Yes.
So how long have you been in Australia?
I was there till I was 12 years old.
12 years?
Yes.
So what's the cultural difference from all these three countries?
All these three countries, I would say, is India, whatever said and done, there is unity within their traditions.
Yeah.
So whatever disparity they have, they get together and they celebrate something, and they have it in them. They have that fear. Okay, they would hang the ornaments or the talismans, they would have the statues, the replica of, okay, I'm a Hindu, I'm an Indian, it's my tradition,
Yeah.
right? But when I go to, when I see Australia, it's more of an open culture.
Yeah.
Though it's Christians by majority, you don't see much of it. It's like people living their life the way they want.
Yeah.
There is no rule like in the Bible it says, okay, you got to observe the Sabbath. Seventh day you go to church. At least once a week go to church, have fellowship, worship. But it's not happening. But in India, okay, today is this puja and it's going to happen. People from that household, even the mother or anyone, would go and on behalf of the family, she would offer. And they would celebrate. They would cook that meal according to that. But I haven't seen it there. Even Christmas is the only time maybe people go to church.
Yeah.
Easter and Good Friday. So those are things that are a bit disheartening.
Yeah, like I'm so proud to be an Indian because the the enthusiasm we give for festivals is like immense.
Yes.
Like even if it's a small festival, we make it like a tour, like feeling like where we go and meet friends, we enjoy. Like back in Hyderabad, currently there is a festival going on that's called Ganesh Chaturthi, where we used to keep Ganesh idols in every places, every colonies and all. And there is a big, there's a big Ganesh, which is around 70 feet tall in Hyderabad, and 24/7 for 10 days, there is a crowd rush of 1 crore per day.
Oh.
And that's a festival, like it's my favorite festival. I still remember the time when I and my father used to take bike and go all around the streets just to see Ganesha, take photos and have some sweets.
That's nice because my daughter will be in favor of that.
Yeah.
Though we are Christians.
It's actually it's a memorable moment with my father.
Yes. So it's not
My father still recollects that moment,
Oh, okay.
like he still is happy about it.
Yes.
Like whenever I used to ride bike, like when I ride bike behind him, like he sits behind him, sorry, behind me.
Okay.
And when we used to ride bike to the places we have gone, he says that, do you still remember this place?
Okay.
I was the one who used to take you all around the places and get to know people and all during Ganesh Chaturthi and all. I still remember the moment.
Yeah, it's very significant because in Sri Lanka it's quite famous. Lord Ganesh's pujas, there are some centers. So my daughter is very much attractive.
Okay.
So the last time I came to India in March, she told me whatever you don't bring, you bring this white statue of Lord Ganesh.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's very much attached to this and she feels. So that's something I say, for me it's tradition. India, Hinduism, the temples, the pujas, it's more like tradition. It's a feeling of oneness. You feel that peace,
Okay. Now let's get into some serious questions. Like not serious, but in an aspect of an individual, that's a serious question. In cases of an individual or a student, I would feel you are the best person right now to answer this question. So what do you think a person, what do you think might be the best choice for a person to make himself improve day by day? Like what can be an aspect to make him improve day by day? Apart from academics or apart from his day-to-day routine. Like, do you think skills matters?
Yes, skills matter a lot. Because at the initial stage I told you, even headhunters, they search for the skills, the so-called soft skills, right? And people will say, okay, if you have soft skills and sometimes you're a male figure, you're not that dominant. You don't know how to be a leader. But what I say is in life, like you said, skills. Now I believe the very first thing in psychology I learned is life is a square. And I shared it with you in class. So square means spiritual, physical, mental and social. So you have your cognitive learning and all that. You have your spirituality, which I spoke about. And when you come to the emotional part and the social part, that is where your job and your personal life will click together. You need to develop empathy. Empathy is very easy. We always say, oh, be empathetic, empathetic. But when do we really feel what the other person is going through? But we will never agree. For me, empathy is not saying sympathy. I'm sorry for the way you're feeling. It's not that, because I genuinely can't feel what they're feeling unless I've gone through the same.
Okay.
This was the first advice I learned when my dad died when I was 12. There was an Indian doctor, right? Dr. Erasmus. I still remember him. He came to the balcony when I was crying after I came from the hospital, and he said, I have never lost my dad at your age. I still have my dad. So I can't say I feel what you're going through, but I understand what you're going through. So empathy is really understanding what the person is going through, and you can differ in opinion, but you can still be supportive. So that is one skill in life we lack. And the next thing is, I always say, be patient. It's not easy. It's not easy to see results.
Okay, for your kind information, ma'am is talking about the skills which is required for our life, not about academics, like for jobs, like for the job purpose. Currently, we are discussing about our life skills.
Life skills, yes. So empathy, patience plays a very, very vital role. And also, what I would say is, whether it's work or life, integrity is important. So integrity is having truthfulness, honesty. So honesty is even with your friends, like I told you, like your grandmother had told.
Yeah.
If I don't know this, okay, I'm willing to find out.
You just need
Yes.
you just need a curiosity.
Yes, that I learned in teacher training.
Okay.
So I've always been told by my trainer. I just went for a random training.
My grandmother is such a curious person. I still can't believe it. Like, she is ready to try anything. Even if you give her a trigonometric equation, she says that, okay, yeah, is it there in YouTube?
Okay.
Yeah, I said yes, it's there in YouTube. Okay, give me 100.
That is very advanced, yes.
And it's actually quite shocking for me. She learned it in one day and she started explaining me from the next day onwards.
Okay.
Maths.
Okay, yes. That is one field I'm very weak in.
Yeah.
Math. When it
Even
comes to math, I'll be like,
sorry,
freaking
Ranjit,
out.
my mentor is Ranjit sir.
Okay.
So if he comes to know that I'm very pretty much weak at math, he might kill me.
For me, I dread maths. I used to dread it,
Yeah.
and I just passed it because I had to pass.
But to a point, maths is very much required.
Yes. But you know something? The fact is, I learned as a teacher, 11% of the world is math brilliant.
Yeah.
Math brilliant. The rest hard work, and the rest have to have interest.
Yeah.
I think which I did not have. Because I was tortured so much on it.
To be noted, I was an abacus silver medalist back in 6th class, but I couldn't continue it. As I said, so-called perception has made me. Talking about you're dealing with hypertension and all. So how do you manage your day-to-day stress?
Okay, managing day-to-day stress. Because as I told you, students as well.
Like you taught us this topic, now I'm asking you this question.
Yes,
And that was actually my topic as well.
Yes, managing stress, yes. So, and I've told you all that every day we will have stress factors. Every day is not going to be a zero stress or a minus stress. We will have stress of some sort. Even if nothing is going wrong, something will seem wrong. Right? That is human nature. Right? So, what I feel is, first thing is, like we all lack, yes, get adequate sleep. Sometimes the schedules here, schedules there, but if you prioritize at least at 5 hours, something that we all can look into. The 5 hours of sleep. Let's forget the 7 to 9 hours of deep sleep.
It's not possible.
It's not possible.
Yeah, when you grow older and older. And when you start taking responsibilities like job and your family.
And even in lead.
Yeah.
We have a schedule where we work around the clock. But I would say it is possible. It is not impossible. Right? So first target the 5 hours. Forget the 7, 8, whatever. And then even meals. Make the most of what you have. Sometimes we grumble, the food in the canteen, it's the same taste, it's mundane, right? It doesn't matter where you are. Okay, so I have learned to adjust great deal. Because my kids are fascinated. My daughter says, in Sri Lanka, you do not eat these vegetables like this, Mama. I am amazed. So I have learned to adjust. So one thing is, you learn
my
to
father
adjust.
used to say this thing that, Abhi, wherever you go, learn to adjust yourself. When you start adjusting yourself, everything around you seems okay.
Because the stresses are this. If you're not going to have your sleep, for some time you'll be like a zombie walking around. And everything will be upside down. Your sleep hygiene is gone for a 6. Which means basically 50% of your life is done. You're done for the day, right? And the next is your habits. Your food habits, your water. When you know a certain place is humid, you have certain requirements. You should take in more water. And whatever food is there, try your maximum to make the best out of it. There is no use mourning. There is no use saying, oh, I hate it, I don't know what to do, because you've got no other option. Even you want to go out and eat, there are limitations, right? And the next thing is always look good, to feel good. One day, one of my students asked me, "Ma'am, you were down with your migraine and all this stuff, but you put all your makeup and you're nicely dressed." I said, that is what I'm saying. If I'm going to tell you to look good, to feel good, when I see myself in the mirror, I don't have to be drop dead gorgeous. But if I'm looking confident, and then my sickness inside is hidden, nobody can see it. It's the way I react.
Yeah, talking about this, till 10th class, till 10th or 11th, I would say, I had this, I had this bad behavior saying that I don't look good, my eyes are crossed and my legs are like this. But all of a sudden, I don't know how that came into my mind and saying that, okay, I'm not going to do any of my ear operation, let it be like this. And I take it as a pride. And till here, I haven't done my surgery due to that. Or else we would have done that surgery right after my 10th class. My father said that we shall do after the 10th class, but I didn't choose to do that because I felt this as a pride. Because I feel this as an identity, this ear defect. So I never felt, from there on, I never felt this as a bad thing at all. Because this has given me moments to upgrade myself, Maybe this might be the only reason which is making me do something out of my life.
Yes. Because you are so much conscious of yourself that I am okay, a little different. I have this, it may be a defect, people may look down upon me, but I think the very things that come as threats, as our weakness, as sometimes people with the best looks, they have the best limbs, but they don't make use of their lives. So that's the saddest part. I tell my students, even my son is a good example. He's very talented, very skilled. He was like, what have I achieved in life? I said, no, go to the mirror first and see yourself, right? So you may feel this is something disturbing, but what that is, you have to turn it into a blessing. Because by doing that, there are a lot of people who have different flaws in their life, physically or mentally. So you can be an inspiration.
Abhi, there are people out there who has lot of defects than you.
Yes.
This is just a small part of it.
Which you can use yourself to propel forward, where you can reach out to people which I can't do. One thing it reminds me, don't ever have regrets in life. I always say I don't regret why I met my ex-husband. I knew him for 3 months, we got married. I don't regret. It's only lessons learned in life. Never turn back and think, oh, I should have done it differently. Because it's not practical. You told me, how can we be practical in life? Don't ever live in your past. Learn from your past.
But I think it's very difficult to shift that track to from this.
No, that will never heal sometimes. They say time heals a lot of things, but for me, time has not been healed my father's death. It has not really healed the gap of losing my life partner. I'm the one who divorced him, right? But the thing is, I learned from it, but there is no use in regretting. But the hurt will be there, okay? But that has made me stronger. It has made me go forward. So whatever is happening now, you should look for tomorrow. That's what I always do.
Yeah. Okay. A comparison. I need a comparison answer from you.
Okay.
I hear it a lot from my parents that at least just keep it a try or have a try on it. Don't think about the result, just have it a try, whether if you don't know or whether if you're good at it or bad at it or whether you know it or you don't know it. What is your take on it?
Yeah, I always have this thing from Shakespeare that comes to my mind, right? They say, faint heart never won fair lady. Faint heart never won fair lady. So if you're a faint heart, even if you want to propose to a girl, whether to know she loves you or not, you're going to lose it. So why not give it a chance? And try it, because only in trying you'll discover is it possible or not. So I always think of that. Now my dream at 18 to come to India, I somehow had a dream. You'll be surprised. I used to tell my daughter when I die, though I'm a Christian, take my ashes to Rameshwar. I used to say that up till now. And then she said, no, you got to go and settle there, Mama. This is not going to work. So then that dream I had, I want to go to India, I want to stay there. I have achieved it now to some extent.
Okay, I would You brought me a curiosity of talking it into another level called manifestation or visualization. So,
Okay.
do you believe in manifestation or visualization?
Not really, to be honest. No.
But I think it's like just like a visualization.
Okay, yes.
Like there is something, if you affirm it, it becomes your reality.
Reality, yes. Sometimes I think it could be the figment of our imagination also.
Okay, yeah.
That is
Imagination.
why
Like when talking about manifestation, it includes visualization,
yes.
imagination.
Yes.
Like
I haven't really
when your
thought about it.
frequency is on the right path,
Yes.
then whatever you think,
Yes.
even if it's the impossible one,
Yes.
that's gonna be attained one day.
Yes.
It's not. It's gonna be like it's not a one day process, but you're gonna attain it.
Yes.
In near future or within 10 years of time or 5 years of time. But you need to believe yourself that you're gonna achieve that.
Yes, I think I took time on this for a negative answer because from age 18 to 44, I waited a long time to come and sort of settle here and to get my life going with the place I love. I'm immensely peaceful. No matter what stress I go through, it could be my work, it could be colleagues, not with the students. I've never had any stress with students and with Thomas, to be honest. Right? The two big things I like in this place. And I love the hills, so I've always thought it's what you make of it at the end of it.
So, what's so fascinating about Lead?
Lead fascinating first thing is the culture. Right? So when I first came and sir and the others used to tell me we don't have gates. Yasmin ma'am told me we don't have gates. We don't lock these faculty rooms. We don't lock things. I was like, oh my gosh, this is really true. Or there's no drawback in it. But then I found that the culture is very open, that in an open culture, what I feel is you're prone to do less things on the slide. So students also would not like to cheat you out.
Yeah.
They wouldn't like to do something and then say they hide from it. But I have felt they're very open.
Yeah.
Very open. If you reach out to them and give your hand, they will keep both hands on you. So that's what I feel here. It is the open culture that Thomas sir has sort of brought out, and it's quite different. It's the first time in my life I've seen this kind of culture, right? And I've seen it as something good for this generation, because this generation needs a higher level of empathy, understanding, and bonding with others, with adults,
and
parents.
Communication.
Yes.
The openness to talk to everyone.
To talk. And you should not be afraid to talk and express your feelings with due respect to others. And the person listening also vice versa.
Yeah.
Communication is very important, because two-way communication means someone ought to listen and respect you. I mean, I don't have to agree with you, but I respect your opinion.
Yeah.
Same thing with you. If you say something, if I don't agree, yes, it's fine. But that is your right as a human being to communicate, to voice your opinion. So you don't get judged. We're very often thinking, if I say this, what will happen? If I say this at this meeting, what will happen? But what I say is for your betterment, for others, and to feel peaceful. You said what you said.
Okay. So my last question for this show.
Okay.
I need a honest answer.
Okay.
This might be little tricky. You need to answer it in a way that you could answer.
Okay.
So this question is, I would give you two scenarios.
Okay.
One scenario is that one person is very much talented and he doesn't care about anything. Like he just wants to be a person better every day, like a complete person every day. And the other person, he thinks about himself that, like that person is way better than me, and I'm just, I don't have any skills, or I ain't talented person. So, if I would give you the two scenarios, what would you suggest a person that is going in a fast pace, and what would you give a suggestion to a person who is stuck in a life where he doesn't have any skills or talent? Like, what would you give? A suggestion to the fast pace and a suggestion to a stuck person.
Okay.
Did you understand the question?
Yeah, I got your question. Question
Is
very
it interesting?
Very interesting and very intriguing, and it sort of gets me thinking quite a lot.
Yeah.
The situation you put me on is like a dilemma. Like I'm having my legs on two fence,
Yeah.
where to jump, here, there. But what I would say is I will still stand in the middle. And to the two different scenarios, there are two different things I would like to say. That may be not of knowledge only, but of the skill, the connections I have seen, people I have met in my life. Okay, this person who is like, the rabbit and the hare story, the tortoise and the rabbit story.
It is like that.
So this person,
at some at certain point of life, we might think life is like that.
Yes, so what happens to this fast-paced guy? Okay, maybe he's talented, knowledgeable, the star, fully confident. It is your self-confidence that gets you there more than anything else. Sometimes overconfidence can be stale and kill you over time. With time, it will deteriorate. It's like that hare, the rabbit ran, thinking, okay, I can rest now. That guy is far behind, never gonna catch up with me. So that is a place where we call complacency. You are self-satisfied. You know you can do it. So complacency should never set into this kind of scenario. You've always got to think, I never give 100 to students. I will give a 98 for speech and communication and leadership. Because if you give that 100, I'm an examiner for PSM, right?
Yeah.
They've always told, don't be too generous, you're always generous. So what I thought, okay, the older kids, we cut down the mark. If you give that 100, he thinks it's perfect. Because we are not perfect.
Yeah.
Till we die, we have to learn. So that is going to kill him, that complacency. I am the best kind of image. So everyone should know there is a time to learn. We will fall one day. We have to pick up. And when he falls, he's so confident that he's totally devastated. Because he never expected and wanted defeat in his life. When you take the other scenario, which is the guy who thinks I'm a nobody, I have no skill. But I always believe leaders are not God. Leaders are basically made with a lot of commitment, a lot of dedication, a lot of talent. Because leaders means not only leading an institution, not only leading an organization. You can be a housewife, but you are a leader. You're leading your home. You can be a sister, a brother to someone. You're still a leader. It is what you do with your quality. So what I would say the second scenario is get a hold of your life and think of the skills that you're good at. Think of what you're good at. It could be singing, dancing, cooking. You're zero with academics, leave it. But you have to fill in that gap later.
Yeah.
So focus on your strength and be happy with what you do. And then build up your life. So then when you find you are happy with something, you will definitely do wonders with your life. So that's what I always would tell the second scenario.
I think I found out my answer. The same answer as my mother.
Really? It's quite a
The
coincidence.
second scenario was
Okay.
actually me.
Oh, okay.
Sorry to say that, but
Okay.
now I'm completely out of it.
Okay.
I see that I'm a talented person
Yes.
and I see a clarity of my life.
Uh-huh.
I can see that clarity.
Yes.
I'm getting that clarity, where should I go to my life?
Mhm. Yes.
I believe in a quote,
Mm.
a person of hard work can make a person better.
Yes, definitely.
So with this note, I end up my podcast. But before ending, I just want to hear a review from my dearest man, Panthea. Could you just tell about this show? How did you like it? Was
Yeah,
it interesting or?
Actually, for a podcast, I thought it's quite amazing for the first time, to be honest, because you're very casual, you're very relaxed.
I don't know, like truly, I can't believe that how am I so relaxed.
Yes, you are so relaxed and you're fluent with what you're going to ask,
Yeah.
and your questions lead one to the other. The transition is so fluent that it's like well structured, and you have the mindset and the clarity of mind to go on talking and asking the questions relating to what is happening.
Yeah, like maybe this podcast can even help me in much better way.
Mhm.
If I can ask you one question, the answer you give me can lead to another question.
Yes, exactly. But that is a skill.
Yeah.
Not everyone would have. A lot of great presenters would have it all written. They'll have it nicely
Honestly,
written.
ma'am, like I didn't ask you any question
Yes.
except the starting question which I know.
Okay.
The rest, everything.
And I
that-
didn't see it before I came
Yeah.
also. Yes,
Like,
though I kept on asking.
I don't know like how am I this fluent in English and how am I this confident in presenting to people.
That is the faith you have in yourself.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this, I'm going to try it out, and I should try to do my best. So it's not anybody's best. Healthy competition is there, but I always say believe in yourself, be the better version of you.
I still remember the day when I first presented in my communication workshop. Panthea ma'am was there, and I know the presentation wasn't that good, and she came behind and said that, why are you so tense? Just relax. Come and meet me. And this is the first time we are meeting in person, and this led to the start of the podcast. What a big deal.
Yes, it's really
And I'm so blessed. So that's all for today. So this is a book. Very couple of hardly two people have written about me.
Oh, all
So,
right.
You are the second person
Uh-huh.
who might be writing this.
Oh, okay. It's such an honor and a blessing. Yes.
Pen.
Pen.
Ah.
You got a pen.
So this is my book, which I brought it a year back. Hardly two of the people have written about me. So this is the third person, and she is my miss.
Okay. I would actually take it as a very sacred book.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write it.
Yeah, you
I'm so
can.
much blessed is to be part of your life.
Yeah. So another person comes to my life, that is Panthea ma'am. I'm so privileged to have her in my life, and I hope so that this podcast has been an interesting podcast, much more of a conversational podcast. Until we meet again, as I said, this is not an end. This is just a beginning. We will meet again. This is just a trial. So until the next time, this is your man Abhijit signing.